In the vast emptiness of the Kalahari Desert, a place older than civilization, older than recorded time, there lies a mystery few have ever seen. A field of shimmering glass, not quartz, not crystal, glass, melted sand fused by heat beyond anything nature should produce in this quiet corner of the earth. Local tribes call it the desert that burned in one breath. Stories speak of a sky brighter than the sun, a roar that shook bones, and a night where sand itself turned to fire. In 1968, Western researchers stumbled upon the first fragments, smooth sheets of green-black glass twisted like frozen waves. But as new expeditions began in the 2000s, scientists uncovered evidence of something far older, something catastrophic, violent, and utterly unexplained. Tonight, we unravel the nightmare of the day the Kalahari burned and the enigma of the glass desert that should not exist. The earliest scientific record dates back to 1968, when Charles Watterson collected unusual fragments in a remote southern region of the Kalahari. The fragments were smooth on one side, bubbled and cratered on the other, composed of silica fused at temperatures above 2,000 degrees Celsius. Temperatures found in nuclear blasts, meteor impacts, or industrial furnaces, none of which exist in the Kalahari. Even stranger, these glass pieces were scattered across 20 kilometers, far too large for lightning strikes, which create small fulgurites. This was not lightning. This was something on the scale of a doomsday event. For decades, skeptics insisted the glass fields were caused by ancient lightning storms, but the evidence destroyed that theory. 1. No fulgurite tubes. Lightning creates hollow tubes, not wide, flat sheets. 2. Wrong chemistry. Kalahari glass contains iron microbeads, a sign of metallic vaporization. 3. Massive blast pattern. A 20-kilometer zone cannot be formed by lightning, even in extreme storms. The scale was too immense. The heat was too intense. Something far more catastrophic struck the Kalahari long before any human footprint. In 2004, satellite imagery revealed a massive anomaly. A crescent-shaped scorch mark, more than 8 kilometers wide, partially buried by shifting dunes. On the ground, researchers found milted topsoil, fused mineral grains, and a shadow zone where the sand was decolorized by extreme heat. The crescent pattern matched that of a directional shock wave, like the footprint of a blast traveling horizontally. Not falling downward like a meteor, not rising upward like volcanic activity. This was something exploding in the air, directly over the desert. The Kalahari had experienced an airburst, but not like Tunguska. This one melted sand. No known airburst in recorded human history has ever done that. Within the glass field, researchers found strange metallic droplets, tiny spheres of pure iron, some only millimeters across. This phenomenon occurs when metal is heated so intensely that it vaporizes, then cools into droplets. It is seen in nuclear detonation zones, hypervelocity impacts, and experimental plasma weapons, but never in natural lightning or geological activity. Chemical analysis showed iron-nickel alloy, microbeads fused into the glass, traces of rare elements consistent with meteorite composition.
Yet no meteorite remnants existed, no crater, no impact field. If a meteor did this, it should have left devastation across hundreds of kilometers. It didn't. Only a focused blast, like a beam, could create iron rain without an impact crater. Long before Western science arrived, the indigenous Khoisan people carried a legend. There was a night when the sky cracked open, a star fell without touching the ground, and the sand turned to water, then to stone. Anthropologists dismissed it as myth, but after studying the blast site, researchers realized the legend perfectly matches an airburst, an explosion in the sky, sand melting into glass, and the line without touching the ground is critical, because what struck the Kalahari never hit the earth. The Khoisan preserved in oral form an event thousands of years old, a prehistoric catastrophe. In 2009, an expedition recovered something impossible. Stone Age tools fused into melted glass sheets. Flint blades perfectly preserved except for their bases, which had melted into the silica. This means people lived here when the blast occurred. They dropped their tools, and the sand liquefied beneath them instantly. Thermal modeling suggests temperatures exceeded 2,500 degrees Celsius at ground level. The people likely saw a blinding flash and never felt anything else. The tools are frozen in the last moments of their owners' lives. At the center of the blast field lies the most disturbing feature. Waves of glass, shaped like ripples on a pond, frozen in mid-motion. Geologists call them solidified fluid dunes. These formations reveal the sand melted instantly, liquefied, flowed like water, then froze in less than a second. Only a flash of unimaginable heat, a thermal pulse, could melt and refreeze the desert this quickly. Some waves are over a meter high, curling like ocean surf made of green-black glass. This was not nature as we understand it. This was something violent, instantaneous, and targeted. The desert moved like liquid fire, then froze into eternal stillness.
In 2013, ground-penetrating radar revealed a stunning discovery beneath the glass waves. A shallow bowl-shaped depression, nearly 900 meters across. Not a crater from impact, a crater formed from below. The sand and bedrock appeared pulled downward, as if the earth had heated so violently that it expanded, then collapsed. This collapse is consistent with extreme subsurface heating, sudden liquefaction, rapid atmospheric shock waves. But the most shocking part? The crater aligns perfectly with the blast center of the glass waves above. Whatever melted the desert also shook the ground from beneath. To the west of the blast zone, archaeologists found something equally disturbing. A fossilized forest buried deep beneath dunes. Trees carbonized but not burned, transformed into charcoal by heat so intense and rapid that combustion never began. This effect is seen only in high-energy shock waves, pyroclastic surges, and experimental plasma bursts. The trees were frozen mid-death, branches curled yet unburned, seeds intact, insects preserved in charcoal. The Kalahari blast did not behave like fire. It behaved like a flash furnace, sealing life into blackened perfection. Further north, at the edge of the Kalahari Basin, researchers discovered ancient petroglyphs carved into basalt. These carvings depict a large orb descending from the sky,
Jagged lines radiating outward, human figures cowering below, and swirling patterns identical to blast spirals found in the desert glass. One carving shows a figure holding a staff toward the sky, surrounded by concentric rings. Archaeologists believe these images may be prehistoric eyewitness accounts of the blast, recorded thousands of years before modern humans settled the region. The most striking symbol is a spiral with a dot at its center, labeled by linguists as the eye that fell. In 2018, satellite surveys revealed a second glass field, 40 kilometers north. Smaller, less intense, but unmistakably related. On the ground, teams found thin glass crusts, sand fused into droplets, and a directional scorch pattern pointing toward the first blast site. It appeared that the same force struck the desert twice. But here, the blast was weaker, as if the source was losing energy or intentionally reducing its power. Some researchers speculate the North Zone represents a misfire, a second attempt, or a secondary discharge associated with the main event. Others say it may mark the path of whatever descended from the sky. Anthropologists studying early Khoisan settlements found evidence of a mysterious disappearance roughly aligned with the estimated blast age. Signs include abandoned hearths, incomplete tools, arrow shafts mid-carving, and footprints leading into open desert. But no bodies, no graves, no migration trail, just absence. The tribe seemed to vanish overnight, cut off mid-task as if interrupted by something sudden and overwhelming. Some researchers theorize they were killed instantly in the flash. But if so, where are the remains? Others believe the shock wave swept across the plains, erasing biological matter at the cellular level. But Khoisan oral stories speak differently. Our ancestors followed the light. They walked toward the eye in the sky. Did they flee? Were they taken? Or did they walk willingly toward whatever caused the blast? Among modern hypotheses, one stands out for its radical yet compelling logic: the plasma vortex theory. According to physicist Dr. Hendrik van Rooyen, the Kalahari blast matches the signature of a hyperheated plasma bubble descending at high velocity, generating a lightning-like discharge followed by a hemispheric explosion in midair. In simpler terms, a bubble of superheated, electrically charged matter may have erupted in the sky, melted the sand, and collapsed in a violent flash. If such an event occurred naturally, it is unlike anything seen in human history. If it was triggered artificially, then the implications stretch beyond archaeology into the realm of lost technologies or civilizations forgotten by time itself. In 2021, scientists drilled a core sample from the thickest glass wave. At 3 meters deep, they found layers of green-black obsidian-like glass, alternating with thin stripes of crystallized silica, and a final layer of fully homogenized silica, smoother than lab-produced glass today. This last layer required temperatures exceeding 3,300 degrees Celsius. No natural airburst, meteor, or volcanic process can achieve this without leaving additional devastation for hundreds of kilometers. Yet the Kalahari shows a localized burn. The conclusion was simple, chilling, and unavoidable. Whatever melted this sand reached temperatures higher than any known natural phenomenon on Earth's surface. Something acted here that defies geology and challenges physics. Today, the glass desert of Kalahari remains one of the most haunting mysteries of the ancient world. A blast that melted sand into waves, a crater formed from below, metallic rain falling from the sky, forests turned to charcoal without burning, tools fused into glass, a vanished tribe, a second faint blast miles away, and stories of a star that fell without touching the ground. Some believe it was a meteor, others a plasma event, a few whisper of technologies lost to prehistory, and some, quietly, suggest something not of this world. But all agree on one truth. On a day long forgotten, the Kalahari Desert burned in a single breath. The sand turned to fire, and a moment of unimaginable violence was frozen forever into glass. Whatever happened here, it was powerful enough to scar the earth, and terrifying enough to burn itself into human memory. The glass desert is not a place. It is a warning.